When you look at the news on any given day, it can feel like just a random jumble of events. A plane crash over here, a viral video over there, some big diplomatic meeting somewhere else. But what if they're not so disconnected? What if they're all telling a single powerful story? Well, today, we're going to connect the dots on just one day's headlines to find the common thread that links them all. And that thread is pressure.
So let's start with these two images. Two incredible leaps. On one side, you've got India's Tejas fighter jet. I mean, this is a masterpiece of engineering, a real leap of national ambition. And on the other side, a tigress in the wild, a stunning, breathtaking leap of pure, raw instinct. One is all about pushing technology to its absolute limit. The other is about the untamed power of nature. But you know what? Both of them, in their own way, are about performing under intense, incredible pressure.
And that's where the pressure really kicks in for our first story. It's a story about national pride, about ambition, and how on the world stage it all turned into a tragedy.
Okay, so the scene is the Dubai Air Show. This is one of the biggest aviation events on the planet, and India's homegrown fighter, the Tejas, is there, front and center. But this wasn't just a simple flyby. This was a sales pitch to the entire world, and right in the middle of this high-stakes performance, the absolute unthinkable happened.
So you have to ask, right? What could have possibly gone so wrong, especially in front of a global audience? To really get it, we need to talk about the insane physical forces that were at play in that moment.
Let's break it down. The pilot was attempting something called a negative G-turn. Now, what that means is he was pushing the jet into a dive that basically creates a feeling of weightlessness. It's an incredibly difficult maneuver, pushing both the pilot and the plane to their breaking points. But he was at a dangerously low altitude. The jet lost stability, and at that height, there's just no time to recover. It plunged nose first, and the impact was just devastating.
And of course, there's the human cost, which is just immense. We lost Wing Commander Naman Shal, an exceptional pilot with thousands of hours of flight time. The pressure to perform had the ultimate consequence. It's a profound loss for his family, for the Indian Air Force, and for the entire country.
The fallout from this one crash is huge, and it goes way beyond the accident itself. Suddenly, there are tough questions about the Tejas' safety, about how it handles extreme conditions. This puts India's ambitions to export the jet under a massive microscope. And, of course, a huge investigation is now underway. The pressure on India's defense program has just been dialed way, way up.
But it's not just this grand national pressure that was at play on this day. We see the same forces at work in the everyday lives of millions. The pressure to just breathe, to get a job, to build a decent life. On that very same day, just look at this chart. The air quality in Delhi hit over 400. To give you some context, a safe level is all the way down there at 50. This isn't just bad air, This is a full-blown public health emergency. The physical pressure on the bodies of millions of people is just constant.
And this isn't just numbers on a chart, right? This is what it sounds like in real life. This quote is from a post by an Indian tech worker in London, and it went completely viral. Leave Delhi, even if you go into debt. That single sentence just perfectly captures the desperation, the feeling that fleeing is the only choice left.
And online, you could feel the economic pressure too. Two stories really took off. One was about a young guy who moved to Dubai chasing a high-paying dream job, only to end up working as a cleaner. And another story that sparked a huge debate was about a job candidate who tried to negotiate for a better salary and ended up losing both job offers. Both stories hit a nerve because they tap into this deep anxiety about the massive gap between our dreams and the harsh competitive reality out there.
Okay, so let's zoom out one last time. Because all these national ambitions and personal struggles, they aren't happening in a bubble. They're playing out on a global stage that is itself under an enormous amount of strain.
On this one day, the ceasefire in the Middle East was already starting to crack. A deadly Israeli strike in Beirut threatened to pull even more players into the conflict. At the same time, you've got this major power shift happening, with the US and Saudi Arabia getting closer. And in Johannesburg, for the first time ever, the G20 summit was held in Africa, trying to tackle the huge pressures of technology and sustainability for the global south. Honestly, it feels like the whole world is just holding its breath.
So what have we got? A fighter jet crash, poisonous air, viral stories about anxiety, and global tensions at a boiling point. What happens when you actually pull all these different threads together? What does this one single day of pressure really show us?
Well, this is where it all connects. That big push for military exports. The Tejas flight? That's happening because of intense global competition, which is the very thing being talked about at the G20. And, at the exact same time, the pressure at home, like Delhi's toxic air, is fueling the social anxieties we see exploding online, where people's dreams are crashing into reality. Each pressure point just makes the others worse, forcing really tough conversations on all fronts at once.
And that kind of leads to this one last thought. We've seen the pressure of ambition, the pressure of just surviving, economic pressure, and the pressure of global power, all converging on a single day. So the real question isn't just about what happened today, it's which one of these pressures is going to be the one that finally breaks something, and which one will end up forging something new, something that will define all of our tomorrows.